Hi, I'm going to do another review today on a movie that's one of my favourites, but this review is going to be a bit different because the movies I previously reviewed have been kind of gangster movies and kind of action-packed movies, and I don't want to make out that they're the only kind of movies I like, because believe it or not, I'm a massive fan of romantic movies. I've seen every romantic movie going. I think I love romantic movies. I'm not afraid to admit that. Obviously, some of my favourites are like a lot of other people's: Dirty Dancing, Ghost, The Notebook, all fantastic movies actually. But my favourite romantic movie of all time has to be Somewhere in Time, starring Christopher Reeves and Jane Seymour. A lot of people have not seen this movie that I know, and you really are missing out on a treat because it is breathtakingly beautiful, this whole movie, and the concept of it is really interesting. Basically what it is, it's quite a complex story, so I'm going to try to put it in a very easy way. Christopher Reeve's perfect love, his soulmate, is in another time, a previous time. So what happens at the start of the movie is that he's a playwright in the 1980s. It's obviously set in the 1980s, and he goes to this hotel one day after breaking up with his girlfriend, and he goes to the museum of the hotel. It's a beautiful hotel, and he goes into the museum and he's looking around, and suddenly he feels something over him, like something's calling him in a way. So he turns around and the music comes in really beautiful. This has got one of the best soundtracks of all time, this movie. And he sees a portrait of Jane Seymour on the wall. So as he gets, he moves very slowly towards it, and the light comes at him, and it's really like, oh my God, who is this beautiful woman? So he goes to the manager guy and says, who is that portrait of? And he tells him that basically she used to be an actress in the 1920s, and that she used to live at the hotel and do some plays there and stuff. And she was quite a big star actually of that time. So he meets this professor. I know it sounds crazy, but it really works in the movie. He sees this professor guy who says that time travel is possible if you can dress in the clothing of the time, make sure you have the correct money, everything. You have to be perfect for that time period, and lay on your bed and picture that you're in, like, say 1920 or whatever it is, and you have to overdo that in your mind all the time, and it will start to happen. Yeah, I know it sounds really far out, it sounds stupid, but honestly it's really good in the movie. You do believe it. Anyway, this happens to him. He actually does go back in time and he meets Jane Seymour, and he's already in love with her. She falls in love with him, and without doubt it's the love of his life. But unfortunately things go drastically wrong. Very tragic ending, one of the most tragic endings you ever will see in a movie. If you're male or female, it don't matter, you will cry at the end of this movie, because that's how emotional this ending of this movie is. I adore this movie. It was a big flop actually when it came out, I think in '82, because obviously people thought, oh, Superman, he won't be able to do a romantic movie, that kind of stuff. It got really bad criticism, but you know what, Christopher Reeve's performance is absolutely spot on in this movie. He's brilliant. I feel always the emotion of the character. Jane Seymour looks absolutely beautiful in this movie, the best I've ever seen her look. And it's a very, even though it's really far out love story, it's a kind of believable love story as well. I know that sounds crazy, but you know what I mean when you see it. But the concept, as I said, is really interesting. What would you do if your soulmate was in another time? If it was possible, would you go back to that time? Would you leave your present time, all your friends and job and circumstances, just so you could go back for that one shot at true love? Would you gamble that? That's a really interesting question, I think, and I think that's why a lot of people dug the movie like I did. Just another word about the soundtrack. John Barry did the soundtrack to this movie, and it's one of his best soundtracks of all time. I believe his parents passed away just before he did the soundtrack to this movie, and that kind of emotion he felt for his parents comes through his music, and it is really, really powerful, very powerful indeed. That music, just thinking about it now just moves me so much. So please, please check out Somewhere in Time. It's very cheap to buy. Get it on eBay or Amazon, wherever. But if you love romantic movies, believe me, I will put this at number 1. Best romantic movie of all time. Yes, it's even better than Titanic. It even is better than Titanic, no, but seriously, check it out. If you do see it, as always, let me know your thoughts. I hope it will affect you the way it affected me. And I know everyone that I've lent this movie to in the past, a lot of female friends and so forth, all come back to me and say, oh, Mark, that movie moved me so much. It was so fantastic. So check it out. Thank you for watching as always. Take care and Happy New Year.